What's up, everyone? I'm Em,
I'm Nick.
and welcome into the Ominous Archives.
Well, Em, I'd ask how you were doing, but I believe, last recording day, you were...
Feels like a
deathly ill?
lifetime ago is what it feels like for me, because I feel like I've lived like 15 lives, and none of them were good, because I was sick in every single one of them. I haven't been that sick since I was a child.
No?
No, like young child. I needed ginger ale, like I was sick.
When you texted me on Thursday, and we're like, so I'm not going to be able to record. I have some kind of illness. I was like, oh, like this is going to be a quick week.
Yeah.
Trying to get everything recorded and pieced together for everybody.
And then it snowed
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yep. It hit with, I don't know if it was three
I
or
don't even
5. I felt like I looked and it said 1 to 3, and I was like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden went outside and I was like, and this is...
And there it is.
Yeah, this is definitely more. And it wasn't light, like fluffy snow.
Yeah,
It
I
was
feel like we
heavy.
really haven't gotten a lot of snow in a while. So getting that much of it, I was like, oh, yeah, I remembered very quickly. I was like, oh, yeah, this is snow.
Yep. I don't remember the last time. But we did get to take the little one out in her little
her
pool
first
sled.
snow.
Yeah, and the 2 wild animals.
The dogs.
They-
Yeah, my cats literally could care less. I put them in the little window so they could see, of course, because I'm like annoying cat mom, and they're like, I do not care.
I don't care about that. That's frozen water.
Yep.
I don't.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah.
They want nothing to do with the water.
Yeah. The 2 dogs were just, you took them out and they were like nose diving into the snow and rolling around. You wouldn't even know they were brown. You would think that they were like
Full white.
They were just covered in white. It
Full
was,
white dogs.
yep, all covered in snow. It was great.
See, I love that though.
Yeah. Yeah, they love the snow, which I don't know how. I mean, Archie's short-haired. Kobe, he'd stay outside all day if he could.
If you let them.
Yeah. But with them loving the snow, I know most people, at least in this area, always talk about how they hate the snow.
Yeah.
Which is good, because we can get them thinking warm thoughts with where we're going with your archive today.
Yes, indeed.
Today, I'm going to be talking about Billy the Kid. You familiar? I would hope.
Definitely
familiar
with Billy the Kid.
Yeah. Mr. Cowboy himself.
Yep.
All right. I'll give you a little bit of preface about him just in case you live under a rock and don't know who he is. So, Billy the Kid was easily one of the most notorious desperado of the Wild West. He supposedly killed 21 men before he was 21.
Which is a cool flow. 21
Crazy
before 21.
statistic.
Yeah, it's super interesting too.
Wild.
Person
Some
of the year.
believe it's a little bit less, but it sounds cooler.
You need
when
it for the
say
flow.
You
It's
know.
got to go flow-wise.
Doesn't have the same ring to it. So history tells us that the kid was born. So his name was Henry McCarty. Went by William Bonney. It's kind of like an alias, like that's what he called himself, type of thing. He was born in New York City in 1859. In his short 21 years, he fought against Ryan ranchers in the Lincoln County Cattle War in New Mexico, where he was given a death sentence for killing a sheriff named William Brady. You'll find that there's a common theme here. Almost all of their names are William.
Hey, Will. Hey, Will.
Yeah.
I'm Will. Are you Will?
All of them are
So
names.
he gets a death sentence for killing a sheriff
Mhm.
during a war.
Yes. The New Mexico, the sheriff for New Mexico, his name was William Brady. He killed him. When he killed him, there was a death sentence. I guess, like, sheriffs might have been, like, off limits. I don't really know.
It's a
like,
war.
Yeah.
We're killing each other. But
Yeah.
you killed our sheriff, so you get a death sentence.
Yeah. Like, you're done. You're done. No more
Interesting.
for you. Yeah, right? So, according to almost all the sources, the new Lincoln County Sheriff that was named sheriff after William Brady was murdered, Pat Garrett, was especially eager to collect the $500 bounty on Billy. He was also eager to avenge his previous
Yeah. Well, I mean,
sheriff.
$500 back then
Was like a million.
A million, yeah. It was
Yeah.
a lot of money.
So, in July of 1881, he tracked Billy down in Fort Sumner, New Mexico, and he killed him.
Dun, dun,
History
dun.
also tells us that Billy was buried the day after Pat Garrett murdered him in a simple grave. This is where things get a little interesting. People say that history is wrong. They say that a lot. They say that Billy was never killed. And in that case, he certainly isn't that man in that grave.
Yeah.
Grave.
And back then, there's no DNA testing, so it's
Right.
not. The only thing maybe is now, how many years is that? A long time. Try and dig up those bones and DNA test them. But do you have any
Exactly. But do
DNA
you have anything to
of
match it
Billy
to?
the Kid? You probably don't.
Yeah. So, 68 years after Billy's death, a man from Texas named Brushy Bill Roberts. I'm assuming Brushy is a nickname, so I'm just going to call him Bill.
Maybe
Bill
he was like
Roberts.
really scruffy.
Yeah, like, right?
Beard,
That
long
was his
hair.
nickname. So he claimed that he was the infamous Billy the Kid, which is wild.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's supposed to be dead in a
Very much dead.
shallow grave.
So most historians completely dismissed his story. There is some interesting evidence supporting him, though. Research historian William Tunstall believed that the public was misled about Billy and the Kid entirely. He said, quote, "The whole legend of Billy the Kid, 90% of what we'd heard and been taught as students is not true. There's no doubt in my mind that Brushy Bill and Billy the Kid are one and the same person." So he, gung-ho, fully believes in this man.
That's Billy.
And this is a historian. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he knows what he's...
And to say, like, what we've learned about him is like 90% wrong.
Right.
It's almost like he was set up.
Mhm.
Billy didn't kill the sheriff.
Yeah.
He didn't shoot the sheriff.
So it all started back up in 1948 when an attorney named William Morrison was told that Billy might not have died in 1881 and still may be alive. A client of his said that he actually fought Billy in the Lincoln County Wars and that the kid was still alive. And of course, Morrison was so intrigued, as I would be. I'd be
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
"Are you
you're
kidding?"
no way. Like,
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah, he was killed. We all know he was killed. Gave that guy $500.
Right. So he traveled all throughout the West talking to anyone and everyone he could about Billy. And he found that many people thought that Billy was alive and going under the name Brushy Bill Roberts. And that's like an entire town of people
Yeah.
who wholeheartedly believe this man is Billy the Kid.
Yeah,
That's
so
a lot of people.
he's done something to convince
To
them
convince
that
them,
this is
right.
Billy the Kid.
So after he figures this out, like he talks to all the people, he finally made the trip to Texas, hit the billet, said, "All right, I'm going to go meet this guy," of course. So he goes to confront Brushy Bill in person. And according to William Tunstall, who is the historian, he was extremely hesitant to meet with anybody. He said, quote, "We must keep in mind that this is a man who did not seek publicity. He didn't seek to come out of his seclusion. He was drawn out by us." So, like, he's not looking for the publicity. He's not, like, people are genuinely curious, and they're going to go ask him about it.
Yeah,
it's not
he's trying to lay low.
Yeah.
He's a criminal who has a sentence on him, was apparently killed. Why would you want to be like, "Oh, hey, look at me, I'm Billy
Right.
the Kid"? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing in it for him besides this.
All right,
Death
like, if I was
sentence.
him, I'm going in a bunker, and you're never going to see me again.
Yeah,
As
I'm
far
just
as I'm
gonna
concerned,
kind
I
of
am 6 feet under.
yeah, gonna pull the Homer Simpson meme
Yeah.
and like just fade into the
In the
hedge.
bushes.
Yeah, I'm out.
Exactly. So, Bushy did finally admit to Morrison that he was Billy the Kid. He actually asked Morrison to help him get the official pardon that the New Mexico governor had promised back in 1879, but Morrison needed more proof, like something more concrete. He's not just going to
Mhm.
believe, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm said this. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you can't
believe
just be
me."
like, oh, I mean, you can't go off someone's word. Like,
She said,
you-
he said,
you
in a
can't-
situation
yeah.
like this.
Yep, this is a
Exactly.
big thing, and
Yeah.
it's interesting that the governor's like will pardon you. I guess if he comes forward and
Yeah.
admits like whatever.
Exactly. So he wanted more proof. He needed more proof. So Billy showed Morrison his scars, all of which matched the scars that Billy got during being an outlaw, like his times being an outlaw. So, like, he was a man who was involved, like, very much concrete evidence right in front of you. You could see it on his body, was
Mhm.
involved in some
kind
of things while he was
battle,
being...
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to like further convince him, he took him on a tour of where he used to like hang out when he used to be like, out in the Wild West.
Yeah, and like an
an
outlaw. He was.
Yeah.
This is where we hung out. This is
Right, like,
knocked
and-
3 times on this door,
Yeah.
and it's a secret. Was it like a silo? Is that what they would call it back then? Like a bar.
speakeasy.
Yeah, I think that's the 20s.
Yeah, well, whatever.
You know.
You get the idea. So obviously he did all that. So Morrison unfortunately died in 1976, but his daughter Barbara has said Bill would tell stories with such detail that only someone who was involved with the Lincoln County War would have known about. My father was 100% absolutely convinced that this man was Billy the Kid, and he took it to his grave. So, like, Morrison, this man who got so close to him, completely, like, wholeheartedly believes this man is who he is.
Yeah, he's saying
Billy
this is Billy the Kid. I
Took it to his
have no
grave.
doubt. Like,
Right.
and that's a big thing too, because I mean, people always have like that, like deathbed statement or something, and I mean, some people don't, but
yeah,
for him to take it all the way there and continue to say it up until that point. I'm not saying it was a deathbed confession.
No,
I'm just saying, like,
exactly.
He went to his grave swearing that
It's
Bill
true.
was Billy the Kid.
And he did the research.
Yeah,
like,
he did. He put the time in.
Yeah.
He visited him.
So before he died, he contacted 5 people who knew Billy the Kid during the Lincoln County War. Each of them all met him separately in person. These 5 witnesses didn't know that, like, the other 5 of them were also being questioned. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like they didn't know they were
like
each
they
being
weren't in
talked to.
contact with each other. Like
Yep.
it wasn't like 5 people like, oh, let's all say the same thing and it all match up. Like
Yep.
it wasn't. They took
They were
the
individually
precautions
contacted
to know.
to make sure.
So all 5 witnesses signed sworn affidavits stating that Bushy Bill Roberts was in fact Billy the Kid. 5 of them,
5
separate people,
all knew him. They're all like, that's Billy the Kid. You're live and well.
Yeah.
There's Billy the Kid.
5 people.
Yeah,
Is crazy.
Mhm.
Like
And especially
that's a
that they
crazy
didn't.
amount of people.
They all didn't know that like they were being talked to by this person. They
Right.
knew. They knew this guy was coming to them asking questions about Billy the Kid. They swore they knew that was Billy the Kid. They're gonna sign an affidavit on it and say this is him.
Signed, sealed. That's it.
Delivered.
Right. So if that's all true, like if that's the case, what happened the night that Billy was supposedly killed, and who did they bury?
Yeah.
So according to Bushy Bill, on the night of the shooting, he was with his girlfriend Celia and his partner Billy Barlow, another Billy, and they were at Jesus Silva's house, obviously unknown to the kid and his friends and his girlfriend. Pat Garrett and his friends were waiting across the yard for him because he has this death sentence on him. Like, obviously, they were keeping tabs on him.
So I don't know if it stated or said what is Jesus's. Did it say like if it was like a bar? It's like a friend, kind of like they were just. It just says they were at Jesus's
literally
house.
just said they were at Jesus Silva's house. It mentions Billy Barlow, the girlfriend by name Celia. Doesn't say her last name. Just said Celia. And I looked for like more information on her. Couldn't find anything other than the fact that she was Billy the Kid's girlfriend. Yeah. That's all. Well, when you have only a first name, kind of hard.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
But so Garrett and his friends were obviously, unfortunately, waiting across the yard for Billy the Kid. So when Pat Garrett opened fire, the first shot struck Billy Barlow, killed him instantly. He was dead on the first shot. The next 2 shots did hit Billy the Kid, one in the shoulder and the other in the head, and it's said that he passed out from the pain and he woke up to his girlfriend taking care of him. That she then told him that Billy Barlow had been killed and was being buried in his place. According to the research historian William Tunstall, Pat Garrett knew he killed the wrong man. He absolutely wholeheartedly knew that he did not kill Billy the Kid.
Which is interesting because so they're in the house, Pat's shooting at them, Billy passes out, or the kid passes out, the other Billy dies. How do they escape? Like, and I'm sure that, it's one of those. Yeah. It's another mystery
right, it's
of
like
Billy
one of those
the
things
Kid.
for asking questions.
How did they get away?
Yeah.
But to know, like, somebody else is being buried in your place, you kind of are like, I gotta hear.
Yeah, like, I'm getting out of here.
So the William has said, in any normal procedure, Pat would have brought his body to a place for all to witness. It would have been displayed all over the town, his guns, his boots. Pat did not follow that procedure at all. He took almost every single precaution to conceal the identity of the corpse. Like, they buried him the day after it happened, immediately. There was no, like, displaying of the, oh, hey, look what I did, because it was a big deal. Like, man, there was a death sentence out for him. Like, and he
he was the one who killed him. Like, I would have, like, not for nothing, but like, I would have been talking
You would've
about it.
showboated.
Like, yeah.
That would be the thing. It's
That's
a
what
big
they
thing.
did back then.
Billy
Yeah.
killed our previous
Right.
sheriff.
Like,
Here
hey.
he is. We got him.
Yeah, none of that. None of that happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, very fishy.
Feeds into the conspiracy that it's not
Mhm.
Billy.
Exactly. So by 1950, Morrison felt that he had enough evidence to request the pardon from the governor of Mexico. He agreed to meet both men in person, but unfortunately the meeting turned into a literal press circus. So you have to remember, like, at this time when they're finally like entering all this, Billy's 90 years old.
That's old
Yeah.
for
He's
that time.
90. Like,
Yeah.
it's been a long time. He's an elderly man.
Mhm.
Like, it confused him. It scared him. Like, all the people, all the questions.
Yeah,
like,
he was also just trying to lay low.
Yeah.
Like,
He li-
just
he
let
just wants
me
to clear, like,
ride off into the
Yep.
sunset. I'm not looking for publicity.
Yeah. Which
I
is
know
such a
who I
shame.
am.
because, like, if that didn't go down like that, like, what could have came
Mhm.
from that?
Yeah.
Like, maybe we would have had more information, like,
Yeah.
more concrete, like,
Yep.
evidence. And according to Morrison's daughter, Barbara, Bushy's testimony was literally all for nothing. There was no reason. Morrison's legal arguments and all 5 of the affidavits were never even entered in evidence. So, like, what was
Yeah,
the
why
point?
would you? Yeah.
Like, shortly after the meeting with the New Mexico governor, Bushy unfortunately suffered a heart attack on the street in Hicko, Texas, and died. And they never did anything with those affidavits, those, like, all that information, all that
Yeah.
research that they just spent all that time doing. Nothing
Yeah,
ever came
part of
from
me
it.
feels like they kind of were like, he's dead.
Yeah.
This is it.
Just
we
let
don't-
it go.
We're just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Let this guy do whatever he
Mhm.
wants to do. And, we're not. Billy was dead. He was
Yeah.
killed by Pat.
Not
That's
like
what we know.
however many years ago.
Yeah. Crazy.
Absolutely wild. And it's crazier because, like, what could you really do, like, to figure that out other than test the DNA? And, like,
Yeah.
what
and you
DNA
don't,
do you
do
have
you
to
have,
test?
yeah.
Like,
The only thing maybe is like if there's parts of Billy the kid's family, maybe
Yeah.
or like genetically trace ourselves back to
Mhm.
it that you could test things.
yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I don't know. No idea what you were gonna do.
Yeah. I'm also, like, curious, like, what happened to his girlfriend? And, like, the friend, Jesus. Like, what
Yeah.
what happened to them?
Yep.
They just, like, went on with this information just knowing that? And just, they took it to their graves, too?
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, you'd think so too. Maybe just because you don't want people going after him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they probably him and Celia.
Yeah.
Probably parted ways.
Right.
I got it. I have to disappear.
Yeah.
If you follow me,
It's just
your
gonna be bad
family.
for you.
it's
Yeah.
just going to lead you down a bad road too. And sorry for getting your house shut up, Jesus.
yeah.
Like,
sorry, bud.
yeah. But that
Yeah.
is crazy. And the whole mystery of Billy the Kid's always interesting.
Yeah.
It's always been something that's like popped up here and there. I've
Mhm.
caught it on different episodes of like
Yeah,
the
'cause
History
everybody
Channel,
talks
Travel
about
Channel, like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Notorious cowboy he was.
Yep. Yeah, one of the most notorious and famous cowboys and
Mhm.
outlaws there were. And it almost makes you think like he wasn't even an outlaw.
Yeah.
Like maybe he was like set up when
Mhm.
somebody shot the sheriff in a
Right.
war.
Yeah.
In a war. The sheriff dies in a war.
In a war. Like, mind you, we're
And-
fighting a war.
Yeah.
Like,
So
somebody
crazy.
dies and then
Yeah.
they get a death sentence. I feel like the math ain't math in there.
yeah, there's either parts of the story that we don't have where
Yeah.
it was like they were at a ceasefire
Right.
and he did it.
We'll see, that
or
could very much make sense.
Yeah.
Very much. So.
we will never know.
I guess we'll never know.
Billy the Kid is always just a great story.
It's just interesting to think about.
And go pick this week.
Thanks, I tried.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can definitely tell that you tried. I think each week we're getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And I'd like to think that the listeners are saying that. We appreciate you guys.
Very much.
So, thank you guys. If you guys haven't yet, or if you would like to, you could follow us on Instagram at
Ominous Archives.
X.
Ominous Archives.
Or if you have your own story you want to share with us or reach out, you can email us at.
ominousarchives@gmail.com.
All right, guys, that wraps it up down here in the archives. We will catch you next week. See ya.
See ya.